Welcome you all in the first class of our Selenium automation batch. Today we will be covering our manual testing concepts. Okay, so today's topic is uh, software testing overviews. Uh, bear with my throat. I'm not feeling well. Okay, I'm admitting also in between. Okay, so today's topic is software testing overview, SDLC, principles of testing, SDLC, so software testing lifecycle. What are the different types of testing, methods of testing, levels of testing, what all the documentation and defect management process, and a few topics of interview question, which we will discuss today. Okay. Okay. So now, about the software testing overview. Anyone know that what is software testing overview, or like what is software testing? Anyone want to answer?
Can I?
Yeah, sure. Pallavi, go ahead.
Software testing is a process to make ensure that the software is working fine without any defects, and it is easy to use, and it is meeting with the client's requirement.
Yes, that is
And
the point.
yeah, the developed software is bug free. For those things, we do software testing.
Very good. Very good. So these are the main objective of software testing, that it should be first thing should be a good quality product, right? The quality of the product should be as per the client requirement. Okay, so there should be defect free, which is a myth, because defect free product cannot be possible, but defect should be as minimal as we can. As a software tester, we should ensure that the defects of our software should be minimum. Okay, so that is the objective, and also we should be giving it that it should be on the time, like on the decided timeline we should deliver the deliver the product. So this is the software testing. Software testing is nothing but testing a software which is given by the client, and finding the defect and giving them as per their requirement. So good quality product. Okay, why testing is important? Same thing, to give the good quality product and give the requirement as per, like give the product as per their requirement. Okay.
And testing also saves the cost, right? If there is no testing, and if there is a crash or in the system, then it will increase the cost of the development, like software development.
Yes, so good point. So Varsha has raised one point, like why testing is important, because it can save our cost, right? So save our cost. If we start our testing in the very early stage, so it will save the cost of our product, but like because we are finding the defects in very early stage, so it will be bare minimal when we reach at the end, because we have already started finding the defect, so it will be very economical and will be less expensive. Okay, that's why we do testing, and testing is very important. Now, who does the testing? Who all does the testing? Any answer?
Developer and tester.
Developers and testers. Developers also do the testing, and testers also do.
Correct. Actually, if you be asked this question, then everybody do the testing, because everybody do their part of testing. Even the
And user
clients
also.
end user do the beta testing, right?
Correct. Users also do the testing, managers also do their own testing, which is called as exploratory testing. He's not doing any test cases wise testing, but he do their own testing because they have the um, knowledge of like domain wise knowledge that manager has. So they do their own testing. Everybody, like developers, of course they do the testing when they are developing their software, and then it is given to the tester for stepwise testing, system testing, integration testing, all those things. But when you are asked explicitly, they ask that who does testing, so you should say that main part of testing is done by developer and tester, but according to me, in your project everybody will do testing because they do their own type of testings, because manager, architecture, everybody is involved in the testing at some or the other phases. Okay, clear everyone? Any doubt in this? I'll also give the one document for reading that what is testing, why it is important, what is quality product, what is the QA, QC, what is quality assurance, what is quality control. All those things I'll be providing you so that you can go through it, and if you have any doubt, you can come up. Okay. If no, I'll move on to SDLC. What is SDLC?
So, software development life cycle hook
Yes.
is the
So,
process.
yeah, correct. Yes. Go ahead, Dimpesh.
Is the process of the development of software to the business needed. Like it is several phases like the requirement analysis, the designing, coding, testing, deployment, and maintenance.
Correct. Very true. So, software development life cycle, as it said, that it's a life cycle, and why we have different phases, so that we should not miss any of the phase which is important for important for analysis, important for defining, designing, coding, testing, deployment, maintenance. So we should not miss anything. So we should follow the SDLC phases and the process to have the good quality product, to have the to go through all this process so that we get a good quality product, and also we should deliver our product on time and as per the client requirements. Okay, so in SDLC we have these many phases: requirement analysis, in which we gather all the information from the client. We like, for example, the documents, the designing documents, the ROR, the specification, like SR. SR is like specification requirement. Yeah, correct. User requirements, and all those documents we take from them and understand that, analyze it, that how we are gonna proceed in our project. Okay, now it is defining. Defining means we will study that and define to our tester, our developer. Like, suppose BA has taken all the requirements, then BA will explain to the developers and testers to that how this idea all about, how to implement it, what exactly, how they want. That all is coming in defining your team members, that how to perform these activities. Okay, then designing part is also done by the architecture. Okay, that how you will design that and proceed it for coding. Designing part is the overview of how you will um, make your project and how, where all modules will be fitted, and where all when and how you have to use your different things like classes, where to add the base class, child class, all those things will be uh, discussed here in the designing phase. Then we start the coding. Yeah. Anyone has any doubt?
No.
Yes. Okay. So the in next phase is the coding part. In the coding part, you will start writing the code according to the designing documents, which is designed and uh, which has been said that this is how you have to start your project. So then they start the coding part. After that, once the code is being done or be in a good shape, then it will be given to the tester to do the testing, and the then there will be the after testing, then they deploy the code, and then it will be like a once it is deployed, it is delivered to the client. Then we have a maintenance phase. Okay, so maintenance phase is also important. So after deployment, there are like a maintenance phase where you maintain that whether once after deployment, whether that code is, whether that project is working fine or not. So these are all the different phases of SDLC. Okay, any doubt in this?
To add to that, Shavi, so in the designing phase, usually we build test strategy and test plans.
Yes, test plan.
Create
We will learn
yeah.
about the documents which we will be using in our testing part. So all those test planning, test strategy, documents, all those things will be developed here by the high level um, like managers and you know project leaders. All those people do that part. Okay. So it's also important that you should know that which phase is done by which level of the people. Like as I've told you, requirement analysis is done by BA, defining is done by BA only to the uh, to the developers, actually to everyone, to architect, to developers, to testers. They give the explanation to them. Designing phase is done by the architecture, the design, that how it's a high level designing, how we create our project, how all uh, small things they discuss, that where we are gonna build our project and how we were gonna build our project. Then start the coding part. Coding part is done by the developers. Yes, coding part is done by all the developers. Designing is done by the architecture and senior developers, right? Because senior developers is also involved in it. They will tell you about all the classes, or all the base class, child class, how the architecture should be like, right? How we are defining everything. So that is done by the senior developers, architectures, and all the big big people of your projects, right? So that is that. Coding is done by everyone, like junior developers, senior developers, everybody's involved in coding. Testing part is, as I've told you, done by the quality people, like testers. Once and all, it is delivered after the coding. Deployment is done again done by the developers and senior developers. Maintenance is done by the testers as well as senior developers and junior developers. Everybody can do the maintenance. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, Pallavi.
In who does this designing exactly? Because as Ramya told, this all the docs creation will be happen over here, right?
Yes.
This test planning, test strategies will be will be prepared over here, right? And who
Right.
will create these test plans and test strategies?
Test
Because
strategy,
because
test
you
plan.
told
Mhm.
it is done by the architectures and senior developer, right? So who
Yes.
creates this test plans and test strategies?
Actually, this should be done by the architecture only, but developer testers also create their test plan, test strategy. No, in test plan, test strategy, when we learn later, like it involves the objective of the project. What is the objective of the project? What are the different responsibility you give it to different people? So that is done by the higher authority only. But it sometimes all I have also created test plan for my project.
As a tester
So
or
what they
as a like
as
as
a
a
senior
senior?
tester, senior tester.
Okay,
So
so you'll be also involved in the, like, senior testers will also involved
see,
in the
it all
designing part.
depends. See, all depends on your project again. So it all depends on your project. If they have given the information to the even the tester also, they just provide the information to the tester and they want them to create the test plan. Okay, so what are the responsibilities? What is the exit criteria? What is the entry criteria? All those information, if you have, you can create that test plan, right? It's not a very big thing, but of course, in designing part, you are not involved. It means like testers are not involved in designing part. Why? Because um, I mean, because it is only about the internal architecture of the project, right? So internal architecture, mostly testers are not involved. But in some cases, like we have done some project in which in the designing part also, testers were involved. So if some question come in your place that is this their design like testers are involved in designing part, so you said that it all depends on organization to organization that whether they want to involve that or not. In my case as a tester, I was involved in designing part, but again, if you know the functionality in defining only, if everybody has given you the requirements, everybody has given you the functionality definition in the defining part, okay, then there is no need to involve in designing, right? But because designing part is the internal things, or you can say the coding part, mainly coding part is involved in it, in the designing.
Shavi, one
So,
small doubt.
yeah.
If I'm wrong, just tell me.
Mhm.
Actually, last project I worked on, like some areas which are touched, right? The so and so area. This
Mm.
area we are changing. For example, a logo of something is changing, or some web page is changing particular thing. They give. We are changing this. They usually ask us to write your own test strategies or test cases so that you can execute soon. So the developers used to tell us this is the part is we are changing it. You first start on writing your test cases so that you can execute soon. They tell what are the areas which we are changing. So
Correct.
these, when defining means, or is it on defining phase or designing phase they give us?
See, it all depends. It's very confusing actually when it is defining or when it is designing. So for the safer side, you can say that it is we are involved in both, like defining also and designing also. But you are getting my point, no? In like if the coding part is involved, uh, we are not that much involved in it. Why? Because we, as a tester, mostly do the functional part. Okay. So the safer side, you should say that you are involved in defining also and you are involved in designing also. That is that will be good. Okay. But as you said, your logo part or that is your UI part, right? If I'm not wrong, Priya, that is
Yes,
the UI part,
I'm just
right?
telling the example, not that clearly. This the thing I worked on some switches and backend criteria, data
Hmm.
something. So and so data is is failing, so you have to write a test cases regarding that. What is the failover cases or failing cases, failback cases, failover cases, all these things they use to tell us, prepare your own test cases regarding to that, so that it will be easy for you when you run the test cases by the time the code comes to us.
Right, right. Very good. So these are the scenario, or this is the input they have given to us, the requirement they have given to us, and explaining that this is this is failing, and this you have to write a test cases for that. Right? Priya has said correctly that all the information should be reaching to the tester, so that the tester can write their test cases. So all the information should reach to the tester also. Make sure that you have all the informations here. Make sure that you have each and every scenario should not miss from the tester point of view. Okay. But the thing is, again, I'm saying that it is not required to understand the internal coding part. For you it is not required. Why? Because we are functional tester. Whatever we are learning here is functionality wise testing. Okay. There are few testers who have who do the unit testing also, but usually tester always do the functional part. Okay.
I have another question.
Yes.
This life cycle says like first requirement analysis, then defining, then designing, then coding, then testing. After that, deployments come, right? But once the coding is done, like correct me if I'm wrong, okay?
Yes.
Once the coding is done, it should it go for the deployment, then the tester test the thing, right? Because we do it on the server, right? Once it got deployed in the server, on the server, after that we do the testing part, right?
That is for the, again, there are so many this is deployed in a QA server when we do the testing, and this deployment is about the productional deployment, like production.
Okay.
in the production,
like for the client,
right?
okay.
This stands for that deployment.
Okay,
So,
got it.
yeah, there are different QA servers, like you can say this is a no development server. Of course, when you start coding, you can you do the testing part when you have deployed in your development server. Once you are doing testing, you have to deploy it on your QA server, and once you are do the product, even in the even for the testing, UAT testing, you have to deploy in a UAT server, right? After that, once you have done with all your testing, then you deploy it in a production server. Okay.
So this deployment and the maintenance part is entirely different, because this thing goes on, right? The testing will again go to coding, then
this part
will
takes
have a
maximum
different
time.
life cycles, right?
Yeah.
That is called the SDLC. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
This part takes the maximum time, because coding and testing, then again coding, and this is the repetitive. I will tell you.
Okay.
Once
Yes,
it is
got it.
yeah. So this is the iterative process, like again and again you have to do the coding and testing. So Ramya has put one point. I didn't see the chat. We can also determine performance of the software. See, performance, we will do it later. Like performance testing, I mean, if you're saying the performance of the software, then it's fine. But a performance of a software means performance testing. So that is again a different type of testing, which is like a not non-functional testing. We will learn about this later, but we are not gonna learn performance testing. We'll know that what is performance testing, but we'll not learn in deep about what is the performance testing can only done by the tool. Okay, so there are different tools which are available for performance testing. Okay, Ramya. So we will do that later.
Sure, Shavi. That is for actually I put in chat for why testing is important. I wanted to
Okay,
add.
that way. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, why testing is important? Yes, to increase the performance of your software also. You're correct. Okay, so if we are done, we can move on to the next point, which is
One question, what is
yes.
UAT?
UAT is user acceptance testing. When we do UAT, I mean UAT comes at the end of the testing when you are done with all your unit testing, system testing, integration testing, you know, everything you are done. That time, then it comes UAT, user acceptance testing. So user acceptance testing is usually done by the user, but they ask tester also to do the testing, but that is just to give the I mean in like user should be involved in the testing, and user should, like it's on a real time scenario. Okay, it's a real time, after that, that product will be in the market. So UAT testing is basically a beta testing, alpha testing. You must be have heard that, heard about the, you know, version, like beta version is coming, alpha version is coming. That means they are doing their final testing, final phase of testing. If you
So we
have seen
learn
that,
this also.
uh, uh, that is usual testing only. It's not
Okay.
like a different type of testing. Those test cases will be similar to the test cases which we are doing it. Means like you have seen the cars, you know, the cars is packed, and they are not showing it to the showing it like the cars running on the roads, but they don't want to disclose that this version is coming or this model is coming. Okay, so they wanted to run in the road for their testing, right? So that is like a, we don't want to show people that we have this model launched, but launching is yet not done, but they wanted to um, uh, test that how it is performing when we are running in the road, because software wise we have run in the, you know, in that uh, testing part, or in that you know, in garage part we have automatically run it. But actually when we are launching in the road, how it is behaving. So how we'll done it, we cover all the parts of the car, and then we start driving it and testing it. So that part is called UAT. Okay, similarly for the software, we just launch it in the web. Okay, we just launch it in the web, and we don't want to disclose it that this is the this is the, you know, this is our real project, and we wanted to test it, that how it is performing when we actually put it in the web, and then we start our testing, and then again we find some UAT defects. Of course, we'll find some UAT defect when it is deployed in the UAT environment. Okay, so those testing is called UAT testing. This is a similar testing. It's not, that is functional testing only. UAT is functional testing only. Okay, performance testing, load testing, stress testing, that is not functional testing. Okay, so that is done. It all depends on your project. If your project is like Facebook or Instagram, where large number of people are hitting to your application, so that time you have to do the stress testing, load testing, performance testing, because there are so many people. You must be like in future it will be hitting on your application. Okay, so that time you have to do the stress testing, load testing in your application. But suppose there is a like what you can say, it's an attendance. Okay, suppose there's an attendance sheet. Okay, attendance, how you will put the class attendance, okay, in your software. Okay, you have made one software which is a daily attendance of your class, that whether they are present or not. So how many will hit in your application? Maximum 30 people. Like everybody go into that application, say that I am present, and come out of that application. Or some or the other things will be there in that application. Suppose some questions are there, some interview questions or some other questions are there. So will that need stress testing or load testing? What do you say? In that class, there are some, suppose 50 students. Okay, they are going to give their attendance, and also there are few things like available for their students, like suppose they wanted to learn Selenium only. Okay, so there are some 30 students, which is there is one institute where they are logging into the system and giving the attendance sheet. So do they want stress testing or load testing?
I think so. They do not. They don't
Yes,
need
so
to do
that-
it because
Yeah.
there are only a few number of people, and
Correct.
when it's the Facebook or some, there are millions of users
Many
getting
billions of users.
logging in at the same time or something. That
Correct.
for that reason, like we do that. But this is one functional module or something like that. We can do it and
Correct.
test it. So I don't think that
Mm.
it's needed like.
Yes, correct. So it all depends on your project, that whether you want to have that testing in your application or not. So it all depends, like in your project. Okay, it depends on your client also, that they whether you want that stress testing or load testing or not. And again, stress testing, load testing, performance testing, all these are non-functional testing. Okay, so non-functional testing, you cannot do it manually. Someone was saying something. Okay, what I say, functional testing can be done manually or without help of automation, but non-functional testing like load testing, stress testing, you cannot do manually. Okay, just it's a very important point, because sometimes interviewer may ask you that, can you do performance testing manually? Can you do stress testing manually? Can you do load testing manually? So the answer is
No.
no, you cannot do. It's not possible that thousands of people hit that application at the same point of time. It is not possible. So you cannot do your performance, stress or load testing with manually. Okay. So for that, you need a tool. You need a specific tool for all these testing to perform it. Okay. So for example, like for load testing, there's a JMeter tool. And for that, you have to learn it separately. So performance testing or load testing, people are altogether different. So here we are learning about the functional testing. Okay. So now coming to the SDLC models. Okay. So software development life cycle have different models. First model is waterfall model. Anybody know about what is waterfall model? Anyone know? What is waterfall model? How it works? What are the, you know,
I think when there is a design phase, like the end, some part of the requirements has to be going to the design phase, and it's one by one another. First we have to gather all the requirements, then design it, and then again after the designing is complete, then we have to go for the development and testing.
No overlapping happens. One completes and then
Correct.
goes to another.
Yeah, go for the other.
Correct.
And
Very
whenever
good. Very
it's
good, Varsha. Very
complete,
good.
like you need some of the requirement part in the design phase, like
Mhm. Yes, anyone has any other answer?
Yeah, the waterfall model is used for the small company.
Correct.
The requirement is the same, it doesn't change frequently,
Mhm.
and it is stable. So no much changing.
Correct. Correct.
So that's why they
And
follow the waterfall model.
we
Correct.
cannot go back to the previous
Yes,
phase.
that is the point I was looking for. Ramya has put in that point. So we cannot go back to the previous phases. Okay, so these are all the phases of SDLC, right? Software Development Life Cycle. This is the all the phases. So what Ramya has said, we cannot go back to the phase when we are done with that phase and come to the design phase. Then we cannot go back to the requirement phase because requirement phase is freeze now. Okay, so once this phase is freeze, then only we can go to the design phase. Design phase is freeze when we go to the development phase. So as the Dimpesh has said, it's for the small projects, or is a small company, rather small company, no, but small projects. And also, as Dimpesh has said, it is for the stable projects. Okay, stable projects is also very important. Why? Because when you are very clear with the requirements, okay, requirements are crystal clear, then only you can just freeze that requirement. Okay, after freezing the requirement, you'll go to the design phase. Design phase is crystal clear. Now no need of changing it. Then you go to the deployment development, sorry, development. And then when development is fully done, then we go to the testing one and so on. Okay, so this is clear.
Yes.
Okay, so as we are clear with this, we go to the next model. This is the next is spiral model. Anyone know about the spiral model? What is the like in waterfall we have a that we cannot go back to the previous phase, right? So what is the speciality of spiral model?
Here we have the risk analysis phase.
Correct.
If the project has the more risk,
Hmm.
then we use this spiral model. Other
True.
than that, everything goes the same, but we can do it in a iterative way. We
Okay.
can follow the same process again and again.
Right. So as Pallavi has said correctly, that spiral model is a combination of iterative development process model and sequential linear development model. So either we can do it's a both like combination. Either we can do sequentially or you can do iteratively. So mostly when it is very complex project, very complex project, that time we use the spiral model. Okay. For example, like Microsoft. So Microsoft, every time Microsoft is launching a new version, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So they have a always have a um, always have a better version after few time after like after a period of time they have a better version. So what they do the planning and they do the risk analysis. Like in my previous version, what are the risks involved in that version? So they mitigate those risks and they overcome those risks and they again do the development and testing and they in the evaluation that how they are gonna launch this particular version of Microsoft. Okay, so like that they do the iterative version again and again. They are uh, launching their new version of the product. Okay, so risk.
Can you,
Yes.
sorry, Can you please tell me some more risk? What kind of risk involved in this model exactly?
Yes, so risk involved is nothing but like the software is not performing as per the requirement. That is the most basic uh, requirement we needed when we are using the software. So see, as I've told you the example of Microsoft, like in Microsoft 8 version, these are all the risks that they were not compatible to the uh, connectivity issues were there. They were not having those many like features, right? So these are not risk, but also the improved version is also there. So the risk, if you find the risk like mm, if we mostly with the banking side we have risk, okay, and even this for this also we can have risk of losing some data or having connectivity risk or you know or else
Can we say this for the Apple mobile models, like they are increasing every year, like one?
yeah,
Is,
same thing for
is this will be applicable for this type of whatever?
correct. That also is applicable because
Because
Apple
every time the
also
iPhone
launches
is releasing the new
their new
models, right?
versions.
New
Correct, correct.
versions, right? So,
So whoever
and every
is
time there is a
launching,
something or the addition in that
yes,
version, right?
additional, correct. So that is the thing. Like they might use it, whether they are using it or not, I am not sure. But spiral model is a model which is perfect for those situations. Okay, we are just learning and we are just
Oh, okay.
thinking that it is for the big project. It is not for the small projects like attendance sheet or having
Oh, okay.
those projects. If you invest your spiral model strategy for these projects, will be a waste. So spiral model is always uh, always applied for the big project, complicated project, and risk taking project, like
Right.
risk, because there when there is risk analysis is required, that time we use the spiral model. Okay,
So
clear
I
everyone?
have a
Any doubt?
question.
Yeah,
Uh,
yes, Raman.
so in this risk analysis, do they use any tool to analyze this?
Yeah,
Like
they must be. Yeah, they must. No. Tool. I mean, see, manually also you can do it. With the tool wise also you can do it. We are just learning that how they can, how this model is working. You can always put some tools, right? For development also there are some tools involved. Testing also tools are involved. Risk analysis also tools involved. Even planning also some tools are involved. So tools we are not learning here. Yeah, but if as you have questioned, there might be some tools involved, but that I don't know. Like it all depends on your project requirement, that you want to use the tool for the risk analysis or you don't want to use the tools for risk
okay,
analysis.
and who will be
Uh,
mainly involved in this activity actually?
Yeah, in risk analysis activity, everyone will be involved. Why? Because everyone should know that. See, this is a iterative process. In iterative process, everyone should be involved. Why? Because new requirements are coming, and new development is going to perform, new testing is going to perform, new deployment is going to perform. So in this agile process or in this iterative process, it is required that everyone should involve. Okay, so in if anybody is missing, then it breaks the link, right? Because there are always an iterative means what? Anyone know what is iterative means?
repetitive.
Repetitive, correct? What is repetitive? What What is repeating? What is
Doing
We
repeating?
do
again.
it again and again.
Yeah, but what we are doing again and again?
Here,
Functionality.
everything actually.
Upgrading.
Upgrading, correct?
The
What we are
functionality
Testing
requirement.
particular things.
Yes, as Dimpeshi said, that requirement analysis. We are getting some new requirements, right? So new requirements, we are applying it into our application. What we are changing? We are changing the requirement. We are changing the
Functionality.
functionality. As new functionality is coming up by the client. So that is iterative. We are doing this process again and again. We do the planning, again we do this whole thing. This whole thing we do again and again. Why? Requirement analysis is coming again. New requirement are coming. This is called agile process. Okay. In agile, we get small requirements. We do not this maintenance and deployment we don't do. This 2 portion we don't do because that will come in the later point of time once we do the UAT. So these 3 things like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 things we do again and again in the iterative things. Okay. Yes. Anyone has any other question?
So every time planning is changed, everything is changed.
Yes. Every time we do the planning, not planning is change. We do the planning for the requirement which has given to us.
Okay.
We do.
I have
Yeah.
another question. Sorry.
Mhm.
Why would anybody use this spiral model if they have this agile model then?
Yes, that is a good question. Because agile model is not having risk analysis. Agile model is having a retrospective analysis. Retrospective means if anybody know about what is retrospective?
Like
Retro-
they gather, they do brainstorming meeting, and they discuss
Yes.
the issues.
Issues, correct. So they do retrospective meeting. They discuss that what we have done wrong in our previous sprint. Okay, so they have sprints of 2 weeks, 3 weeks sprints. So every 3 weeks they have the new requirements from the client. So they do what analysis that in the last spring what we have done wrong, why the performance was so low, why we have not completed our story, why we have so many reviews in our previous stories, why we have so many defects in our previous sprint. So all these analysis we have done. Now what we have done, how to mitigate it. For that we have a retrospective meeting. We'll discuss the issue that why this is happened and how we can overcome it. What are the steps we should take to not repeat it again, and what is the reason why we have so many reviews or so many review comments by the client. So those things are called those things involved in agile. But in spiral model there is a risk analysis. Risk is like, as I've told you, that when there are versions, we use these type of models. If there is no versions, we can use agile also, right? So any other question? Yeah.
Yes, like as you said, Microsoft or Apple, they have the different versions of their product, right? So, but every product is a whole product, right? This, like this Microsoft, what they produce, they have this versions, right? So the one version is the complete product. Why
Right.
do they go for the risk analysis in that one?
I mean,
I'm-
when they are launching their product, they want to make sure, no, that there should not be any risk involved in that product.
Yeah, but that is the end product, right? I mean, when the user is using that, then they get to know this, right? When they get
Right.
the user is informing them, like, we are not able to do this thing, we are having this issues. then they do this brainstorming and they do the planning and they
No,
come into the
not
next
the-
version.
not
Right.
that time. Not that time. Every time you have to do, but sometimes, see, as I've told you, no defect is a myth. You will learn this in the
Yes.
software testing principle. No defect is a myth. Once you have launched the product, once you have delivered the product to the client, then also you can find the defect, right?
Mhm.
So that process is keep on doing it, keep on doing that. Like finding the defect is a never ending process, because so once you have delivered it to a client, there is always a possibility of getting a better version of that product, right? So that is why a spiral model is come into the picture, because they're always looking for the betterment of the project. And also see, this is like an 100,000 and million times they have done this this iteration before giving it to the client. But again,
Mhm.
they can do it again. They can do 1,000 times when the next version is coming. Are you getting my point? So
Yes.
as you have given the product, that product is good, but there's always a chance to improve. Improvement is
Okay.
always required, right? So
Yeah.
when you are giving the new product, it will be a better version of the previous. So you have to keep on improving your product, and that can be done with the help of spiral model.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Any other question?
Will there be client interaction in this model?
Of course, like everything you cannot write in a simple model information, right? There are, in planning only, they have a client interaction, and in every part of the phases, there are client involved in it. Okay. So of course, client involvement is always there.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question? Some good questions are coming. Okay. So we can move to next points, principles of testing. So this I'll give it to you as an assignment. Okay. This is nothing but all the theoretical part only: detection of bugs, effectiveness testing, early testing, defect in clustering, testing in context dependent, and error-free testing is a myth. I was telling you this again and again. Okay, so one or the other error will be there in the production also. So you just go through these principles of testing, and honestly, you have to go. Okay, we will discuss this in the next class. Okay. Okay, so we'll move on to the next slide. Okay. Now again, there is one V model. Okay. We have seen waterfall model, we have seen spiral, and then we are discussing about the V model now. Okay. Anybody know what is V model? Actually, it should be VV model. Why it is VV model? Anyone?
Validation, verification model.
Yes,
Verification and validation model.
Verification and validation model. Okay. Any other information anyone want to give about this?
Like whenever there is user requirements are there, then we start the testing at that time only.
Correct.
So that
Correct.
if you get the early defect, then you can parallelly do the testing and get the defect bug free. Like we can free the bugs from there.
Yes, that is perfect. Perfect. We start early testing. Any other one? Any other point anyone want to put for this V model?
Like it goes hand in hand, right?
It goes
you-
hand in hand. That
Yeah,
is also-
user requirements, then we do the acceptance testing. Then if
Yes.
it's software present, when this Means we are able to find out this software specification when we get at the same time we can do the system testing also. Same
Correct.
with the other phases also, right?
Correct. Correct.
I have a
Yes.
question. Do we do this, like, do we create any test cases at that moment when we get the user
that we will
requirement
answer.
at that time?
That I will
Acceptance?
answer. That I
Okay.
will answer. Yeah, questions will come after we are done with the explanation.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just
Sorry.
asking about the, what all you know about the V model. Yes, Dimpesh was saying something.
Yeah, the validation, I think after software we do, and the verification before software we do, the documentation.
Correct, correct. So
uh,
V and V means validation and verification. Okay. So anyone know what is verification and validation, difference between verification and validation? This is the most favorite question for interviewers. So what is the difference between verification and validation?
So it
ve-
is also known as static and dynamic testing also.
Correct, correct.
And
Very good.
verification is just like requirements and design phase and all those comes and testing and everything involved in that validation part.
Correct, correct. Anyone else?
verification is done by the developer, and validation is done by the tester.
That is also you can say, but not exactly. I mean, yeah, okay. We will discuss that later. Anyone else has any other point?
Is it like, I'm not sure, but is it that verification is like, are we building the right product, and validation is,
Yes.
are we building the product right? Like
Right.
it's,
Correct. Yes, that
is
is
it
also
that,
there.
or I'm not sure about it, but
Yes. I will answer all your questions. But I just wanted to know that how much you know about this model. Good, good. Everybody know at least 50% of what we are discussing now. So yeah, about the V model. First thing is, as Varsha said, that as soon as we have the requirement, we are start writing our test cases. Okay, we are just start writing our test cases. We are not gonna implement those test cases. So early testing, how it will start? As soon as the coding is done, we will start our testing. Okay, why? Because we are done with all our test cases writing when we are doing the requirement gathering. Okay, so user requirement gathering, I mean, like information when we take from, as we are clear for the software development life cycle, we know that what is the first phase to gather information and to analyze it, right? So requirement phase is that. And then what will happen in the V model? We are gonna say that the acceptance test cases have been done when we are doing the requirement analysis. Okay, done means what? Writing the test cases is done. Okay. After that, there is next phase of software development life cycle is what? Software specification or designing or defining. All those things will come here. That time, what the tester are gonna do? Every phase testers are involved. Okay. So in that phase, what testers are gonna do? They will write all the system test cases. Why? Because they have all the requirements now. Okay. So according to the requirement, they will start writing their system test cases. Okay. Now comes the high level designing. High level designing means what? Designing part. As we have discussed that there is a designing part in which what we are doing, we are preparing the documents, we are preparing the test planning, we are preparing the architecture of the project, how we are gonna start our project and all those things. That time integration testing test cases writing should be done by the testers. Okay. Then comes the low level designing. Low level designing is what? When we write the classes, we write the, all the packages, how we have to use those packages and classes, and, what all functions are involved in it, methods involved in it, all those naming convention, every detailing of your designing part should be done here. That time unit test cases writing should be done. Okay, then you start coding, because you are done with all the designing part. Then you start writing your coding part. Okay, and as soon as the coding is done, you do your unit testing, you do your integration testing, you execute your test cases, whatever is written here. Okay, so this is just the explanation. Now I'm telling you what is validation and what is verification. So this part is called as verification. Okay, this, and now this right side part is called as validation. Here verification is what? You are analyzing every requirement, whatever is coming to your way. So what you are doing, you are analyzing the requirements, you are verifying the software specification. Okay, you are verifying your high level designing, low level designing. Okay, so this is a static thing. We are not running anything, we are not comparing anything. You are just verifying that whether everything is correct or not. So this is also done by the developers as well as testers. Okay. So that's why I said to Dipesh that it's not that verification is done by the developers and validation is done by the testers, because here we do the run static. Sorry, this is dynamic phase. Okay, so this is dynamic phase, and developers are also involved in dynamic phase, which is a coding. Once you start coding, that time you also do the validation, whether the requirement and the whether the required and the actual thing is coming proper or not. So that time you do the validation, and even coding, even the testers are involved, and even the developers are involved in validation also. Right. Anyone has any doubt? Yeah, Dimpesh, you are saying something?
I would like to know what is the test case. Is a document?
Again, come again. Why would I like to know?
I would like to know what is the test case.
Test cases.
Yes.
Test cases are what we are writing. See, test cases are the test cases is like, good question. It's a good valid question. What is test cases? So yeah, anybody else want to answer what is test cases? As we have done the manual testing, Priya has done manual testing. So what is test
steps? It's a set of steps which we do to validate a particular thing. If it is something like entering the data into a particular column or particular tab, it's like we have to enter. What are the steps which we do? Is it taking a string? Is it taking a number? Is a set of steps we have written in a test case. A particular column, it have to take us particular data. We will write the data according to it. It's a set of steps. First, is it entering the number? Is it entering something? Is it allowing to do something? Such particular steps to be done.
Yes. And also we have an assignment that you have to write these test cases manually. You have to write, because manual test cases writing is very important when you learn the automation. Okay, because when you do automation, when your project is stable, as you have said, that when you do the automation, when you have a stable project, at least you wanted to run that test cases again and again. Why? Because you have a stable project, and those requirements are repetitive. Like these are the requirements we wanted to test again and again for our testing purpose. Okay. So for that, we do the automation, but manual testing is always there. Okay. So these are the ways of writing your test cases, and everybody has to take some or the other site. Okay. Suppose you take the Google site, or suppose you take the Amazon site and write the test cases. At least 20 test cases you have to write. And how you have to write, I'll tell you. See, these are the whatever, it's all dependent. No need to take only login. Okay, login page. Any functionality you can take. You can take some credit card site also, and you can take some banking site also. Take some or the other functionalities. So here it is taking login negative test cases. Okay, so first thing is test scenario ID. Okay, so this is a login. Test case ID, which is a login 1B, anything you can give randomly. Okay, I hope it is visible to all. Okay. Then comes the test case description. Okay, so this is login negative test cases. Anything you can write, because there are only 3, so they have given it negative test cases. I want 20 test cases from you. Okay, prerequisite is NA and post requisite is also NA. Fine, you can have some prerequisite or post requisite. What is prerequisite? That you should have something before starting this application. So suppose you are doing some this is a login page, so you don't need any prerequisite. But suppose you are doing some middle thing, so you need a prerequisite before reaching to that step. You need a prerequisite, so that time you have a prerequisite. But here it is not, because it's a login page. Next thing is serial number, action, input, expected output, actual output, test browser, which browser you are testing, test result, and test comments, if there is any. Okay, so here first test case is launching application. So your action is what? You are launching application. Input is what? Any site name, right? So here it is taking Facebook. Expected result is what? Expected output is you should log into that site. Actual is also, actual and expected should be same, then only it will give the test result as pass. Okay. Next thing is what? These are not the good steps. They have not given the steps, like login into the application, write password, write login ID, password. So you write steps also. Okay. Here in case of input, you write a test steps. So Priya, can you provide a good template for the test case writing, as you have? Otherwise, I will do the template. You have any good template in which it is like a test case scenario? Yeah, here it is good. Test steps. That's what I wanted. Okay, so this is good example. So again, see, if someone give you to write test cases for some particular scenario, it all depends on your project, that how many how many fields it requires. Okay, so it all depends on your project. Okay, so somebody can use test case ID, somebody can use only test ID. So it all depends on your project to project, that how it is taking it. Okay, test. So this is how we write our test cases. Can someone read it for me? My throat is not there. So can you read it for me about the test case ID? Pallavi, can you do it for me?
Test case ID is TC TC underscore login underscore 001. And then test scenario is verify the login of Gmail. Test case, enter valid username and valid password. Precondition, need a valid Gmail account to do login. Test step, enter username. Sorry?
Wait. Yeah. Wait. So what you understood with this? What you understood with this? Yeah. What you understood with this? This is a test scenario where you have wanted to log in into the Gmail ID. Correct? Test. Yeah. Now come to the precondition.
The scenario is same and the test cases are different. For single scenario, there are so many test cases.
Valid Gmail and a valid account login. Okay, now come to the test. You are not
Your voice is breaking.
Yeah, I thought that it's with me only.
Same
Is
thing
it
I
for
was
everyone?
thinking. I was checking my internet connection.
Sorry, I got disconnected. I'll share again. Yes, Priya, you were saying something. I couldn't hear you properly. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Actually, the scenario is one and the test case is different. That the scenarios of the test cases of 4, which we defined, is something same scenario. It's like verifying the login of the Gmail, and the test cases are different.
Right, right. So, because they might be taking a different test data. So in test data, you have a different test data you are involving. See here, what test data you are giving? A valid username. In first case, valid username and valid password. So what will happen? Sorry, it will successfully got logged in. In second case, what you are giving? A valid username and invalid password. So what will happen? You'll get an error message, right? Third case is invalid user and valid password. So again, this is a third scenario. In this case also, you'll get an error message. Why? Because the username is not perfect, not valid. Then the fourth case is invalid user and invalid, both are invalid. So again, you'll get an error message. Okay. So here expected and actual result should also be same. Here it is not written, but you have to write it. Previous example was previous example is where what actual result is also given there. So the actual result, when you do the testing, that time actual result will come. So if it is expected is same as actual, then you will write pass. Otherwise, you will write fail. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
Yes. So these are 4 different scenarios where why all these things are same? Because you wanted to log in into the system. So the objective is same, that you want to log in into that Gmail account. But the data is different. Data here is what? First valid data, rest all is invalid. And that's why it is coming an error message. And only post condition is what? Gmail inbox is shown. Only in this case where you have written a valid data and a valid password. Otherwise, you will not getting post condition for any other. Why? Because it is not possible to have a post condition. Anybody has any doubt, please ask me.
The post condition should be same, right? Because the scenario is same.
Any answer for this question? The post condition be same?
No, not same.
Oh, sorry. Inbox. That means when it goes inside. Sorry. I thought that's use.
Because
I'm
it
sorry.
is not
Got it.
accessing the because it is
Got
not
it.
allowed to access the Gmail. So the post
Yes.
condition will be changed.
They got inside now. Sorry.
Correct.
I thought it's a login page only. Sorry.
So can we end it here, our session? And I want you to Ibhu.
Uh,
I couldn't hear you. What